And so Virginia College Application Week is something that Alta Vista Combined School, that Miss Milam signed up for through Virginia Go, Virginia 123 the Go grant through them. And we're eligible because of our student population. And so that week we did a FAFSA night where we invited parents in. We had pizza and we had drinks and refreshments. We invited them in and we did the FAFSA together. We had a great partnership with Longwood University. They sent out their admission staff and they sat down with us and they answered questions because, again, a month on the job, I needed some help along the way. And Ms. Milam was there and we had administration support as well, and that was a great night. We had, you see in the middle there, we have our friends from, our partners from English Construction. They came in on one of our career days, and students got to meet with business leaders from Alta Vista and the surrounding area. And then we had on-site admissions, which was really cool. We had Randolph, we had Liberty University, we had University of Lynchburg and Longwood that day, and they would be able to look at a transcript and say, we accept you, or we need to see what second semester looks like. And that was really exciting and really awesome. So Virginia College Application Week, 1 month in, it was awesome.
And we did expand that so it wasn't just focused on college admissions. We wanted.
The county invested in that in a huge way. We're so thankful for that. And the kids love it. I think the kids say the furniture is hot. That's what they say. So I'm thankful that the kids like it. And we wanted it to be a space that they wanted to be in. I wanted them to be comfortable, and I wanted them to not have an excuse not to be there. I wanted them to want to be there. And so we wanted to make it a modern setting for them. On the right-hand side there, we use those Home Depot tables. I like them. They crank up or down so they can stand or sit or whatever. We were doing SAT prep in that picture. And we averaged about 30 to 35 students at our SAT prep, sophomores and juniors mainly. And we had 49 students at least come one time. So it was fantastic.
And before, I was having to, use a classroom that was available depending on what time he came during the day. So now that I have the Future Center and I have the dedicated space, it's not where I'm scrambling maybe that day or the day before. Okay, which room? Where, what time is he coming? So it's really nice that we have this dedicated space.
And I've served as the liaison between coordinating the times and everything, Mr. Jamerson. He's a great person to work with. And graduation was our next major event. I know we flew through a school year in about 5-7 minutes, but graduation was my best day. I was doing some reflecting. That was my favorite day. Just looking in students' eyes and seeing their gratefulness for what we did for them throughout the year and celebrating their accomplishments. And we've accomplished a lot altogether. That first one, we have a 68.37% of seniors submitted a FAFSA, and that was #1 in the region. And when I say the region, I say Roanoke County, Roanoke City, Lynchburg City, Amherst, Appomattox, Bedford County. We were #1 in the region, above every other school in the region for FAFSA completion. And we actually doubled the FAFSA completion rate from last year. At the end of the school year last year, we did 33. At the end of May, we did 66. And so we doubled our FAFSA completion rate. And we did that in a variety of ways. I think we've talked about just the availability of time and being able to sit down with people and do it. We had 79% of our seniors had a post-secondary plan. And so we sent out a survey or we sat down with them. Some of them we had to pull into the office and say, hey, tell us what you're doing. You got to have a plan. 79%, right at 80%, had a solid post-secondary plan that we were happy with. Some students at 20%, some of them are just like, I don't know. I'm just going to let the wind take me where I'm going to take me. And I don't think it was without us trying and talk to them and say, hey, what are you doing? 57 seniors indicated they're going to higher education, 32 to 4-year and 25 to a 2-year. I said my background was special education. I put the Project Search up there. That's a transition to work program. So 2 of our special education students are getting involved in that. And then my anecdote that I have to tell you all about, career is important to us in the Future Center as well. And I was able to go to professional development at Liberty University where they talk about aviation maintenance. I won't talk too much about it, but I can talk for a long time because I went to the training all day. But they talked about this aviation maintenance technician tuition payment program. And they said, we're gonna put this out to all students in the United States, and they're specifically talking to the East Coast students about this aviation maintenance program. They're gonna pay for the students' tuition. They're gonna give them the aviation tools. They're gonna send them to a certified program, an aviation maintenance program, and one of our students, Ryan White, University right here, right down the road, because they have a certified program. He's going to have a career with Piedmont Airlines. That's through Piedmont. And he's going to have a career with them. He signed a contract with them. It's a done deal. All he has to do is pass his courses and get good grades, and he has his future set up. And so I had to mention that. There's story after story like that, but Ryan White's story stands out. And then we just want to continue all the things that you see up there. We want to do more business tours in the future. We were able to do 4 college visits. You should have seen the kids. The kids haven't had a very good high school experience because of COVID. And I also love taking kids on college visits, seeing them see themselves there. For some students, it's the first college visit they ever had in their life. And to look at a student and be with them on that experience, sitting in the cafeteria, and I'll tell you, the colleges treat us really nice. I don't know if it was because they're trying to get the numbers up or what from COVID, but they came and picked us up. They fed us lunch. They gave us swag, as the kids say.
Yeah.
And they treat us very nice. And looking the kids in the eyes and saying, "This is the first college visit I've ever been on," that was incredible. That was incredible. Anything you want to say about that, Ms. Mom?
No, well, we went to Longwood, which I graduated from Longwood, and everybody knew by the end of it that it was 20 years ago that I had graduated from there. I couldn't believe it was that long, but yeah, 20 years. So it was nice to go back to Longwood University. But when they sent a van, and I was just thinking it was gonna be like a 16-person van, but it was a big van with, a big bus, air conditioning and everything. So it was really nice. They really treated us really nice for all our students. So we took about 22,
Yeah, it was 22.
24 kids up there. Mhm.
Yeah, and then one last thing on that is the difference between our future centers and the other future centers is we have a combined school, so we're able to dip down into the middle school ages, and they're in the exploration. They don't know what they want to do. You ask them today, they might tell you something different tomorrow. But we were able to do financial literacy game with them. We want to do some more career exploration with them. I know we have virtual job shadow. I'd like to get students looking at that more. And so there's a lot that we have available to us at Elkins Combined School.
So, our goals, we have so much more that we plan on doing in the future, especially now since he's, not starting in October.
Yeah, we have a full year ahead of us.
Yeah, full year ahead of us.
There's so much more to talk about, but do you all have any questions for us this time?
Board members?
I just hear good things. That's great. Thank you very much.
So, are you going to be able to track, the number of kids that applied to colleges, got accepted, and then actually win? Are you going to do any tracking, or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, we do that. Yes, sir, already.
I know from, just the FAFSA, parents are at a loss. And so just having that opportunity to help the parents is huge. And I guess it shows with your statistics. So, because that ends up being a big roadblock for
Right.
some kids not even end up not pursuing it, just jumping through those
Right.
hoops. So that,
And I think the big piece is that Mr. Richard has been able to have that time,
yeah,
where my time has been spent somewhere else.
yeah.
So that's what's been so nice about having a future center, having him in our building.
And research shows that FAFSA completion is there's a correlation between that and being there in the fall, and
Yeah.
enrollment
Yeah.
in the fall. And that's why we talk about it so much, and that's why it's so important, is because there is data to back up that there's a correlation between the FAFSA completion and showing up in the fall.
Mr. Richard, are you comfortable, I'm sorry to interrupt, are you comfortable sharing about the identification part? Do you help us with that?
Yeah, I can share about that real quick. Yeah, so we want to eliminate all barriers, and so talking to seniors, getting to know students. And I meant to share this story. I apologize. I talked to the student. His mom never had a driver's license. His mom didn't have an ID, and I started talking to him. I said, "Do you have a driver's license?" No. He's 18 years old, about to graduate in May. I said, "Do you have an ID?" No. My mom doesn't have one. I don't have one. I was able to take him down to the DMV the first time. The first time I went down there, we were still on an appointment basis, and we went down there and we figured out, well, he needs this, and this, and we thought we had the right thing to get it, and we needed a birth certificate.
else that we want to track too, like making sure, are they being successful that freshman year?
Yeah.
So that would be something else that we would want to start tracking.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
You probably have to use your crystal ball, but that's the second time I've heard the Liberty Aviation about the program. In Ryan White's situation, is this a great opportunity for him, or is this just, like moving forward? I mean, because the person that shared this with me earlier said there's a desperate need for these positions.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, we only had one. I mean, next year, how many will we have? I mean, is it a qualification? I mean, how do you qualify and how do you receive it?
I would love to answer that question. So for Ryan White's situation, there was an interview process. They took him out to Roanoke, and we excused his absence at school. He went to Roanoke, and he interviewed with them at the hangar. And then he had to get accepted at the program, so he had to get accepted at Liberty, so he had to meet the minimum requirements for Liberty. And this is just one program. And when I came back from the aviation maintenance, I was on fire for this. I was trying to get students to buy into this because this is just one program that they're using to get students in. There's other programs out there to get students in. I live in Forest. There's a shop. There's an aviation maintenance shop in Forest. They rep this thing as well, and they have a shop there. They're willing to pay for the student to work at their shop, pay for their tuition at Liberty, and then guarantee them a job after. And I was telling students about this that they were in that 20% that didn't know what they wanted to do.
Right.
And I said, here it is. And Ryan White came in that day, he filled out his Liberty University application, we filled out his FAFSA, and he emailed this lady, and he heard back that day. And so, yes, sir, this is one opportunity to get into the aviation field, but they are in desperate need of people. You're exactly right.
That's right.
Barry, I think he was sort of interested in mechanics, and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes, sir.
He was interested in mechanics to start with, but never considered aviation.
Exactly right.
That's
And
exactly
so this
right.
program really opened his eyes of what was it. I mean, they're gonna train him and give him a job. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
And a toolbox.
Yeah.
In a toolbox.
And a what?
And a toolbox.
Oh,
Yeah.
They treat him so good. They mailed me a hat and a shirt, and so anyway. That was a big.
Yeah.
That was like hitting a lottery for him. To be honest with you, that was awesome.
That's great. Great.
But I think your program opens the eyes to things the kids don't realize are better.
Exactly.
That's the plus.
Yes, sir.
Plus, y'all can start with them young and say, hey, you don't need to take 5 years of Spanish, you need to take a science or another math in order to get in the program you want to get in.
Yes, sir. Exactly right.
I'm tickled that you're an alphabet.
How did this program evolve for Campbell County?
So it took several years. It's modeled after let me just say this. We partnered with Beacon of Hope and the Campbell County Educational Foundation. And we had conversations with the Beacon of Hope for several years. They'd had such success in Lynchburg City with their program at Heritage and EC Glass, the number of students they were exposing to opportunities post-secondary. We have a partnership with CVCC. We had a career coach, but we didn't have a program that was proven like the Beacon of Hope's program. They received a grant to expand their program. They don't fund anything at the Future Center other than they provide the training. They provide the template and the things that are needed to get this program up and going. And so ongoing professional development and everything is sponsored through Beacon of Hope. The foundation helps sponsor and fund programs like some of the equipment and things that we can't do out of general funds. Mr. Richards is our employee, which is, and so he's not a Beacon of Hope employee, which is unique to us, so they're trying to, it's really a pilot program for a more rural area, and they're trying to see if it can be replicated and scaled up to over time. So we're really excited about what they've been able to do down there. It's all about exposure. As Ms. Milam said at the beginning, our counseling department is overwhelmed with testing. A lot of them are the #2 test coordinators, and you know how much testing that we do. To really talk about college and career readiness is not something they really had the time to do. And this is what the Future Center does completely. is not just college, but the business community. They've reached out to them and the military. It's not just about career at college. It's about having a secondary plan when they leave us. So,
Great job.
I apologize for not mentioning Beacon of Hope. Yes, they've been a big asset to us. They helped us to formulate a mission, vision, objectives, all those things. They've been great. Thank you, Dr. Collins.
And are we looking how to expand this to our other schools, or partnering, or co-oping, or?
well, we certainly would like to explore, opening it at other schools. And it's about funding and opportunity and those types of things. So we think we've seen some early success, and the other schools have already asked for them.
Yes, they have.
So I would suspect in time, as we find the capacity to do so, we would try to add those future centers, because they have proven results.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
And there was a local donation made available when the money was needed. That's probably why it ended up in Alpharetta.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Any other questions from the board? Really appreciate your presentation, and keep up the good work, and just, no lost sheep out there. Find everyone and
That's
help
right.
them out. All right? All
Thank you all
right.
so much.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Okay, now it's time for matters from the floor. We have a couple of speakers. At this time, the board will hear matters from the floor. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please be respectful of the 3-minute time limit. Prior to speaking, please state your name and address. Comments must be directed to the board and not to staff, the audience, or the media. Thank you, and we want to welcome Congressman Bob Good as our first speaker. The floor is yours.
Carrying my little clock up here, so I guess that'd be the clock. I don't have to have a clock. Would that be running? How about that? Imagine, they don't give us a visual clock where I normally work at, but thank you to the board for letting me be here. Somebody welcomed me when I came into Campbell County, and I let them know, hey, I live in Campbell County, not far from here, so it's a privilege to be here. I've been to the school board meetings before, my first time to address the board, and I appreciate you allowing me to do that. And I'm here to encourage and thank those who are participating and coming to our school board meetings, our parents, guardians, family members, and community members who care about the future of our country, the future of our community. As we all know, our children are our future, and they're our greatest investment. Parents, and as was said recently in an election a year ago, or near a year ago, parents and guardians and family are the #1 persons responsible for their children, for their children's education, and what happens in our schools. And the silver lining of what we all went through over the last few years is that many parents saw more closely across the country, across the Commonwealth, what was happening in the classrooms, what was happening with their schools as their kids were learning remotely, learning at home. And so parents were more engaged and more involved by necessity on what was happening. And transparency, accountability, oversight is always a positive thing at every level of government, whether it's local government, state government, or federal government. The more that citizens and community members are involved and have oversight is always a good thing. One of the things that some folks don't like to hear me say, but I've been an advocate for the last few years since the China virus first hit our shores 2.5 years ago for cameras in the classrooms. We ought to have cameras in the classroom so that parents and community members, not parents, community members, but parents and family guardians can dial in at any time and see what's happening in the classroom. I think there's a way that can be done which protects the privacy of the children. But we all want cameras on our police officers when they're doing their job. We want to make sure there's accountability for that. I think we ought to have cameras in the classroom. I'm not saying that's specifically a local issue. That's a state, federal, and a local issue combined together. What we do tend to find, though, across the Commonwealth, across the country, is often our schools do not reflect the communities always in terms of conservative counties like Campbell County, or even more conservative counties. We just saw what happened to a county that borders here recently, what came to light and what was happening on school property after hours. But often what happens in the schools does not necessarily reflect the conservative values that make up the majority of our communities. And you know, school boards have to know, and it's, again, that parents are watching, that family is watching, that voters are watching, and they will hold us accountable that we reflect what they want from us when we serve and represent them. We want to make sure that we don't have indoctrination going on in our schools. That's happening all across the country. There is a county that borders here. I was at a school board meeting nearly a year ago, and one of the school members said, we don't, or actually, it might have been the superintendent, but said, hey, we don't teach critical race theory. We teach culturally responsive teaching, and it was essentially the same thing. And while no school in Virginia probably has a class that says, hey, critical race theory, it's that indoctrination or that ideology that permeates what is taught, or the narrative or the framing of an issue. It's a dishonest racial narrative, it's an anti-American narrative, it's dishonest about our history. So parents have to be involved, family members have to be involved and take responsibility for that. And I encourage you for that, to do that, to those, all of our parents to do that. The other thing I want to just say, we must refuse to ever go back to what happened 2.5 years ago during the 2020 and 2021. We should have never closed our schools. We should have never enforced remote learning upon them, and we should have never done masks. You've got threats now across the country again to do masks to our children, which is paramount to child abuse. I hope that Campbell will stand in the gap between the state or the federal government if that ever happens again. So thanks for letting me with you here tonight. Thank you again to our community members, parents, and family who are here to be engaged. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Mendez, you're next.
Well, good evening. I wanted to thank those that program. We're doing wonderful things, and I'm happy to hear that kids are being oriented to go into higher ed or technical trades. But good evening. My name is Jacqueline Mendez. I live here in Evington, Virginia. I have a couple of things that I want to share with you. We have several concerns we are raising in this meeting today. I have learned we are having children in classes of special ed being asked what pronouns do they identify with. A parent contacted us for guidance. We recommended they send a letter to the board members, which she did, as well as the superintendent to seek clarification on this egregious practice. Please kindly address the audience today on how this was handled and how you will prevent future occurrences. And I was reminded by a colleague that our community was inflicted with apathy as classrooms became centers of indoctrination. We trusted our political leaders, those who regularly attend local school board meetings, to be watchful eyes of the school board members. Well, because of this apathy, the community failed to hold you, the school board, accountable. We trusted the school board members to educate our children and not indoctrinate them in woke ideology that progressive Marxists advocate as their holy grail. So we trusted our teachers, our board members, and superintendents teaching in the solid teaching of math, reading, and science. Not so, according to what we have learned. In June, this board passed a resolution to prevent divisive teachings in our schools. We are still asking you questions regarding curriculum and policies that will assure our parents and community members that these practices are no longer used in our classrooms. Will you respond, and are you willing to address this concern now? Moving forward, what is needed is common sense. Educate children and not indoctrinate them. Parents have a fundamental role in their children's education. The courage to stand on your convictions, even if it's not popular. We're going to stand here. We are not letting up, and we are on a mission to restore parental rights. As members of this county, we will lead the way. And I want to close with this. 2 children with the same parents will not be equal. Statistically, one child will perform better than the other. How do you expect entire groups of students to be absolutely equal in any scenario? Equity is not the answer. Stop gaslighting us with flowery language and inconsistent themes in this venue. We are awake and ready to act appropriately to restore public education for the greater good. Thank you. Oh my God, 1 minute left. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mendez. Ms. Coleman.
Good evening. I am Crystal Coleman from Alta Vista. The fact that we are here again talking about the same issue should seem incredulous, yet it seems anything that upholds parental rights and works to protect our children requires a tremendous fight rather than what should be a combined proactive effort. Let's just cut to the chase. If you want to take the children in your family to a drag queen story hour or a show that Bedford County Schools decided wasn't such a good idea after all, go for it. If you want to tell the children, your children, that they can change their pronouns as often as they change socks, go for it. If you want to tell them that a birthing person has replaced the idea of motherhood, go for it. But no one, listen clearly, no one on this board is going to make any such decision for any other parent in this county. The parents and guardians in this community do not co-parent with you. In May, I provided each of you with concerns found in our school libraries. And what were we told? It was probably some error within the website being used. Funny how that changed just recently. And I quote, "The county has a wide range of individuals in our schools, and we need to make sure that all those students feel comfortable and have materials in their library that are available to all of them." So there you have it. The school board has now decided for all parents, despite what any of them might think. And how do they address it? Fill out a form. Now, how ridiculous is that? Parents have entrusted you to take care of their children, to look to see that this trash is not in our school libraries. They don't know that it's there. Should they know to fill out a form? That's ridiculous. To say that disrespects parents and assumes that they are stupid. They voted for you to take care of this for them because they are busy being parents. They don't have time for that, but they will now. The parents of this county are entitled to a parent notification system starting this school year that will provide them the option to get email alerts of when and what their child is checking out at the school library. If they are not comfortable with the content in the book, they can request to not allow their child to check out that book. Parents must also be provided with access to see what books are available, including websites to inform them about the content. Then and only then can the trust in this school board begin to be repaired. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's all the speakers we had tonight. All right, so for the business, we need to approval of the June meetings.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
There's a motion, and who made the second? Okay. Any questions or discussion on the bills? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Donations. Dr. Johnson?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, tonight you have 7 donations for your approval. They were listed in advance of the meeting using board docs. Unless you have some specific questions of these donations, we would ask that you approve them as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments about the donations?
Fabulous, and thank you
Okay.
to everyone who donated.
All in favor of accepting the donations, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Non-resident tuition. Dr. Johnson?
There were 154 applicants being considered for approval as non-resident tuition students. Principals have endorsed these students as acceptable, and your approval will generate additional state and local revenue. Unless you have any questions, our numbers are just where they've been. There's no, we're still holding the course on that.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. supplemental transfer and of appropriations.
Yep. Number 73 is a transfer of appropriation per the year-end resolution. It's the Adult Regional Ed Program, and the transfer submitted and approved by the regional director, the district coordinator, and it moving funds to allow zero and out to grant by the deadline. 74 is per the year-end resolution is CARES 5 funding, and that's transfer per admitted amendment that was substituted. And then number 75 is technology revenue received from telecommunications recycling items.
Motion to approve as presented?
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Dr. Johnson. All right, personnel report. Ms. Hunley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Tonight, you have a rather lengthy personnel report in front of you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'd ask that you approve it as written.
No question, I move for approval.
I got a question.
How many left?
How many left?
As of the end of today, we're down to 14 openings.
Oh, that's good.
It's not bad, and I'd say probably 4 or 5 of those I've spoken to principals about where they're in the process of finalizing a hire, so we'll be in good shape.
Thank you. Great. Great work.
Is your pipeline as strong as it has been in the past, or not?
Well, like I said, I believe last month, we are having more hires where they are not fully licensed, but we can
Okay.
get them a teaching license. So there is more of that than we've ever had before, but that's something that we can work with them on. Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Second.
We had a motion.
Second.
And now we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, so you're going to talk to us about this paraprofessional local assessment. I'm
Yes, so
curious.
tonight I'd like to present to you for approval the option to allow our paraprofessionals to take a local assessment to be considered highly qualified instructional assistants. Since 2006, all of our paraprofessionals or instructional assistants have had to meet highly qualified qualifications per the VDOE, which means upon hire, and we usually give them about a month upon their hire date to show proof that they've completed 2 years of college coursework or have an equivalent to an associate's degree, or they have to, quote, be able to demonstrate through a formal state or local academic assessment knowledge of and the ability to assist in instructing reading, writing, and math. So basically, we want our paraprofessionals to be able to walk into our classrooms and assist with basic reading, writing, and math, which is a great thing. But for those paraprofessionals that have not taken the college coursework, they've had to take a state local assessment. So in the past, since this requirement was put into place, we've had to ask our new hires that don't have those college credits to take what the Board of Education has approved as the state local assessment, which is called the ParaPro. In order to take this assessment, our new employees have had to drive to Roanoke, to the higher education building there, and they have to pay $90 to take that assessment. We're hiring more and more instructional assistants, and that process is getting more difficult to keep up with those that haven't taken the assessment and ensuring that they get to Roanoke and take that. And again, it costs them $90. So we'd like to make it easier and more affordable for them, easier for our office in the long run, to allow our new employees to take a local assessment. So that means we would proctor an assessment out of my office in order to make them highly qualified. And to do that, we just need your approval.
So this is the same thing they take in Roanoke? So it's
Yes.
nothing new?
It's something that-
We just want to offer it here?
Correct, yes.
At no cost to them?
No cost, yeah.
And
No
it's the
cost,
same-
no travel, yeah.
So it is the same assessment.
I'm sorry. It is not the exact same assessment. It's one that we created, that a local, a neighboring school division shared with us.
And it has been approved, it has been approved by the state.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Is what we were presented, this is it? Does it change or anything? or
No,
is it
there's
right-
no need
this
for it
is
to change. That would be it. Yes, sir.
Why haven't we already been doing this?
Because they just gave, so the question is, why haven't we always been doing it? It's my understanding, so this parapro test goes all the way back to No Child Left Behind. And that's the highly qualified piece.
Right.
but it's only just been recently that they would allow local assessments.
Okay.
Correct, Ms. Hunter?
It's been a little while.
It's been a
We
while.
just-
I mean,
We
it's
have
not-
done it this way in our office, but recognizing the more difficult for our employees, I'd like to do it this way.
Yeah, I don't see any downside other than your time.
That's okay.
Right?
We're doing it on the back end anyway, so
Yeah,
we'd
so-
like to do this for them.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
it should be easier for you to hire people now.
I'm sorry?
It should be easier
That's
for you to hire.
correct, yeah,
and
because
that's
upon
all
hire,
right.
when you tell someone, oh, and we need you to go take a $90 assessment as well, that's
Yeah,
a
absolutely. So I just
chunk.
want to know how many of you board members took the test and passed it?
If you'd like to, and then I can
Teamwork with
What is
grade it for you.
What is the passing score? And how many times do you get to?
Oh, you can take it as many times as you need to. The passing score, I don't have that in front of me. I'd have to look that up for you, but we have the grading scale and all of that. We would do that in my office as well.
And I thought it was very well done.
I did too, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad that we're doing this, so good. I don't see any downside. Does anybody ever have any questions or?
Motion to approve. Second.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Good job, Ms. Hunley.
Thanks.
Keep it up. Good,
Yep.
thank you. All right. Had a lot of first readings, and I understand Mr. Siska isn't here tonight.
Right. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Sisk had an emergency he had to attend to. We do have policies, it's that time of the year where you have the majority of the new policies with minor revisions generally coming from just code changes. But he asked that I share with you, if you have any questions, he hopes to be back in the office tomorrow, and you can give him a call then.
All right, report of the superintendent.
Well, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. It's been very busy this summer. I just would make one comment in regards to the, Ms. Coleman and the technology. We are exploring that. We have looked at our student information system. I had that conversation with our neighboring division when they considered it, and immediately came back, and we believe that we have it, but we have a different student information system than they do, but we think that we can create a notification system to go out. In regards to sexually explicit materials, we're awaiting the template from the DOE that's recently been in the town hall. That policy will be brought forward, will come to us, we'll review it, send it to school board attorney, bring it to this board for first reading, and it has to be in place by January 1, but that will be coming. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, matters from the board. I think we'll start with Mr. Jones.
I'm gonna pass. I got really nothing to say. This really, the Future Center is really very impressive, and I think it's a first step out of 4 schools, and I think we certainly need to look at getting it in all, 4 of our high schools, even, the middle schools as well. I mean, it's quite an opportunity, because there are a world of needs that our students can feel if they're aware of it. So, I think it's just a great opportunity. I'm glad, appreciate everything you all have done, and that's all I got.
Mr. Phillips?
Yeah, likewise, great presentation on the Future Center, appreciated that. Really exciting, like, hopefully we can get something like that going in some of the other Campbell County schools also. From Rustburg Middle School, got some information from Ms. Cundiff that they did some additional tours and planning some setup events there. That's going along really well. I don't know if you've been down through Main Street, Rustburg lately, but a lot of progress being made on the school. Looks really great, so excited about that progressing forward. I think most of the external work is starting to wrap up, and still a lot to do on the inside, but exciting progress there. So with the high school, got some feedback from Ms. Hale. Good participation in the summer school credit recovery program there, and also the ninth grader freshman bridge program, good participation there as well. And congratulations on Dr. Hale for her move into a new position, and look forward to working with Mr. Shields. So glad to see them both here tonight. And I think that's all I had, so thanks.
I do have one other thing at the end.
Sorry, Ms. Parker.
Yes, just looking forward to some of the policy changes. I have some recommendations to add the sexually explicit material, parental consent, which of course, you know, we haven't had the need to give any parental consent, but we will be making some other movements towards supplemental materials, student organizations, things like that. But our policies have some wonderful things already in them to prevent the issues that happened at our neighboring school system. And if anybody would like more information on that, just reach out to us individually.
Jumped on that pretty quick.
Yep.
Other than just, I want to thank our guest speakers and thank you for the presentation of the Future Center. Well done, and keep up the good work, and look forward to hearing more about it as we move forward. Other than that, I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I just want to thank Jesse and Lindsay for coming. And for those of you who don't know, Lindsay's going to get mad at me, but that's okay. Lindsay's the daughter of Janet West, one of our great administrators in the Alta Vista area, and she worked with central office also. So, told you I'd get you. Thanks.
Just echo Everett, one who mentioned the Future Center, fantastic. We all are very happy with this, and I'm sure Jerry is more, happy if not more. That's all I have.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I like anything that we can do. One, to introduce the middle school kids to career opportunities so they can start getting their ducks in a row. And anything we can do to help students and their parents who may not have the skills or the wherewithal, who have great intentions and want the best for their children, but just don't know how to do it. And I know the counselors are time constrained and are tired at the end of the day, and to walk a parent through that mess. I mean, my wife had to do it, and thank goodness she did it, and I didn't have to do it. So anything we can do to help that, and I think what this points out is if you had such good success at your school, we need it in each of the schools. You know, we need it in each of the schools. So we've got to look at, if this pilot program becomes as successful as at least your presentation made it look, then
It is.
then we need to explore how to make it happen, and that's our job. So I think we'll keep working on that. All right, you wanted to
Yeah,
make another
I did,
comment?
Mr. Phillips reminded me, I wanted to recognize and introduce to you Brantley Shields. He was on the personnel report. Brantley's going to be, he's been with us a while as assistant principal at Russburg. He's going to be the new principal. And sitting to his right from us is Lisa Pugh, who's been with us for a long time in various roles. And she is now replacing Brantley as assistant principal when Dr. Hale moved to the central office. So I just wanted to say, welcome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
That's all.
all right. All right, well, we do
not. I
We do
pulled it
not,
out.
we pulled it.
We do
Okay.
not.
Okay,
Then
so
I'll
I
be
think
out
we're
into the
done.
We got time. I'll be back in 2 weeks.
That was close.
I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
What happened to this?
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.
Cisco's absent there postponed.